Good day. This is Solidarity News Brief, bringing you news highlighting the dignity of human life from conception to natural death. I'm Dominick diCarlo.
And I'm Brian Gabriel. The American Solidarity Party of California has nominated Duane Loynes Jr. as candidate for governor of California for the 2026 election. Loynes emphasizes the dignity of the human person, which is an essential core of the American Solidarity Party platform. He was recently interviewed by Solidarity News Brief, where he expanded on what it means to be pro-life for the whole life.
And the party champions the consistent life ethic. And so what we mean with that rhetorically is not only does the party oppose certain things like abortion, but also assisted suicide, capital punishment, unjust war, and we have our support for things like universal health care and welfare. So pro-life for the whole life, and our policies that we champion to support life do not end after birth.
In related news, Duane participated in the annual OneLife LA event on January 24th, where he reiterated his commitment to protecting life from conception to natural death.
Hello, Duane. So thank you so much for being involved in the OneLife LA event this year. Duane Loynes Jr. is our candidate for the American Solidarity Party. He's pro-life, pro-family, pro-worker, and he was involved in this event today. That was a special event that was highlighting the dignity of the human person from conception to natural death. So, Duane, how was your experience today on this OneLife event?
Well, it was wonderful to be a part of it this year. Unfortunately, last year, because of the fires in LA, the actual walk part of the event was canceled. So even though people were able to congregate last year and promote life from conception until death, we weren't able to do the walk. So this year was my first walk, and it was amazing to see the actual turnout on the streets and to see how many people came to protest against the evil that is the mass slaughter of the unborn. So it was really good to see all these people today.
Yes, great. And did you get any? Did you talk to any people about your candidacy today? How do you feel about your candidacy as well?
I did get to talk to people about it, and a lot of people, especially at this walk today, they've been starving for a candidate, a party, a movement that celebrates the greater good rather than simply the lesser evil. And so many people I felt were receptive to that, especially today. And the reason I decided to run in the first place is because I also share that sentiment, desiring a party that I believe actually advocates for life rather than only pretends to on certain occasions.
Great. Thank you so much, Duane.
Of course.
And God bless you, and thank you so much for running for governor. It's really a wonderful opportunity for many people to vote for the greater good, like you said, and not the lesser evil.
It's my honor.
Duane was also present in a Southern California event for the American Solidarity Party in Santa Barbara.
Puerto Rico's governor on Thursday signed a bill that amends a law to recognize a fetus as a human being. According to an AP News article dated February 12th, Governor Jennifer Gonzalez, who signed the bill into law, stated that the legislation aims to maintain consistency between civil and criminal provisions by recognizing the unborn child as a human being.
Trump tells Republicans to be, quote, flexible on abortion restrictions to get a health care deal. This is the title of an article from January 6th on AP News. President Donald Trump said Tuesday he wants Republicans to reach a deal on health care insurance assistance by being willing to bend on a 50-year-old budget policy that bars federal money from being spent on abortion services. The Hyde Amendment, named for the late Representative Henry Hyde, originally applied to Medicaid, the joint federal-state insurance program for poor and disabled Americans, and barred it from paying for abortions unless the woman's life is in danger or the pregnancy is the result of rape or incest. Hyde first introduced it in 1976, shortly after the Supreme Court's 1973 Roe v. Wade decision, which legalized abortion nationwide. Over the years, Congress reauthorized Hyde policy as part of spending bills that fund the government. Democrats who support abortion access often joined Republicans who opposed abortion rights as a bipartisan compromise to pass larger spending deals. But as the two parties hardened their respective positions on abortion, Democrats became more uniform opponents of the ban, most famously when presidential candidate Joe Biden reversed his long-standing support for Hyde on his way to winning the 2020 Democratic nomination and general election.
The American Civil Liberties Union on Monday dropped its lawsuit against the Trump administration over tens of millions of dollars in Title X family planning funds that federal officials had withheld from Planned Parenthood and some other health clinics last spring, after HHS quietly released that money in December. According to an article in Politico dated January 6, 2026, the Trump administration is still defending in court far bigger federal cuts to Planned Parenthood that Congress approved last summer. The release of the Title X funds gives the clinics a crucial lifeline. Additionally, while Congress voted last summer to strip Planned Parenthood of hundreds of millions of dollars in federal Medicaid funds, lawmakers would need to pass another law to extend that cut beyond this summer. Planned Parenthood is the largest provider of abortion in the country. An abortion, of course, is the procedure which kills an unborn human being.
To make good on his intention to make IVF more accessible and affordable, President Trump promised access to discounted IVF drugs through the Trump Rx website. This month, it is set to officially launch with the inclusion of a fertility drug from biopharmaceutical company EMD Serono. According to an investigation which was published on liveaction.org on January 29, 2026, a deeper dive into EMD Serono reveals the company's disreputable history and troubling current initiatives. EMD Serono makes a fertility drug frequently used for IVF that is included on the Trump Rx website launching this month, which Trump promised would be heavily discounted for IVF. EMD Serono's parent company, Merck KGaA, had strong ties to the Nazi regime during the years surrounding World War II and a long history of secret deals supplying drugs to Nazis and supplying chemical compounds the Nazis used in weapons. After the war, Merck KGaA was not dissolved. Unlike some other drug makers that contributed to the Nazi regime, this was a mistake that has had long-lasting consequences. IVF is a procedure in which human eggs are fertilized in a test tube with human sperm, producing human beings, many of which are indefinitely frozen or discarded.
The American Society of Plastic Surgeons issued a statement on Tuesday recommending surgeons delay gender-related breast or chest gender surgery until a patient is at least 19 years of age, citing a lack of evidence supporting the procedure's benefits. According to an article from Reuters.com from February 3, 2026. The ASPS, which represents more than 11,000 physicians in cosmetic and reconstructive plastic surgery, said there is currently insufficient evidence showing a favorable risk-benefit ratio for gender-related surgeries in children and adolescents. According to ASPS, there is low certainty of evidence regarding mental health outcomes, along with emerging concerns about potential long-term harms and the irreversible nature of surgeries in a developmentally vulnerable population. The association noted this position reflects recent policy shifts in countries such as the UK, Sweden, and Finland. Also, the American Medical Association, in a statement, said evidence on gender-affirming surgical intervention in minors remains insufficient and agreed with the ASPS that such procedures should generally be deferred to adulthood. In a statement from September 8, 2023, the Catholic Medical Association made clear its position against this practice, stating the Catholic Medical Association calls on the medical organizations that promote the practice of sex reassignment of children with gender dysphoria to reverse their decision. These organizations should consider the profoundly harmful long-term physical and psychological damage that awaits these children as they grow into adulthood. Gender dysphoria is a psychiatric disorder that should be treated by mental health specialists with cooperation of loving parents. The practice of sex reassignment as the treatment of choice for children who show confusion with their sexuality is not ethically permissible and should be discontinued. Furthermore, physicians and other healthcare professionals of conscience who wish to promote the best interests of their patients must be free to do so without policies that threaten their ability to practice medicine. And good night to all our audience, and remember, all human life has dignity from conception to natural death.